Don't you just hate it when you call a plumber and all they do is eat your mushrooms and kill your turtle?
Mario! Love it.
Mario!
Love it.
Hello, business people of Earth, and welcome to NEBiznis, the podcast where we find out about the business people behind the business. Today on the show, we have, well, if you've got
a drip,
then this is the man who'll give it a name. We've got Arron from
you've got a
Heatwave.
drip.
Did I say it wrong?
You did say it wrong, but it's fine. We'll correct that later.
We'll correct it in post. We can do it in post. What was it? So if you got a drip,
If you've got a drip, let Heatwave give it a name.
there we go. I don't have to say it myself. The man's spoken. How are you today, Arron? You all right?
I'm good. I'm really good, thank you.
Good. He's been
Pleasure to be here.
He's been on the tools this morning, literally straight from the
Yeah,
from
like
jobs.
So Thursdays are a good day for me most weeks because my apprentice is at college.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about him. I'm almost like a man of leisure sometimes. Although I'm like, I just don't have to worry about him.
Yeah.
So on Thursdays, it's usually like, I'm kind of free and easy on a Thursday.
You've got a bit
which
of
is quite nice.
flexibility.
Yeah, it's quite
Yeah.
nice. So we've had 3 jobs in this morning.
Has it always been like that then? Or is it?
Well, apart from obviously when I started out on my own, it was just me.
Yeah.
We've had various variations of the business over the years. So I've had it where it was me and I had 4 of the lads working for us. I've had 3 vans on the road. But it never seemed to work correctly, if that makes sense. Maybe it's down to me managing those people properly. At that point, I maybe should have took a bit of a step back so I could manage each job and make sure the quality was still there. But I found myself like...
Bit of a learning journey.
Yeah, and still running around and fixing any issues and stuff like that. I've learned a lot from that in my 10 years in business, which is like opened my eyes a bit, a lot. Since then, I'd like to say I've hopefully learned from mistakes that I've made and guaranteed probably still make some. Yeah. But that's what learning's all about.
Of course it is.
So we started implementing technology, software into like the day-to-day working life. So I don't know if today when I was on my way, I did.
I got a notification to say that you're on your way.
Yeah.
And you are. Arron is 19 minutes away.
There you go.
And I was like, I hope I don't get invoiced for this.
No, you won't. It's fine.
But no, it is really impressive what you've done with it. Like it's streamlined it, so it's like it's better for you. Yeah. But it's also beneficial for your clients and stuff as well.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, so if all the data's been input correctly on the system, on the morning you'll get a message or an email to say your engineer or whoever's coming between this time and this time. Yeah. When I send that notification, it has like a little link, especially if you're using a smartphone. Yeah. You can click on that link and it brings up a map and it shows a little van driving to you. Yeah. Which a lot of customers like that. They think, that's quite good. I could see where you're at now. I could see where. And then when I arrive on the job, I just click arrive at the job. And that can also record how long I've spent on the job. Because sometimes I might have been there a couple of hours and it's been like, I've gone away to another job. And then when I've went to invoice it in the past, I've been like, how long was that job? And
it's sort of
so it kind of keeps track of the time I've spent on jobs. But then most jobs I can put them into a category. So if I'm doing a boiler service or a toilet repair or something like that, I can kind of pigeonhole what it is and then I can look at the analytics of that and it can show us like which jobs I get the most of, which ones have like a first time repair or things like that. And it's quite good when you start really nailing down onto things to look at things because then it can help you like think, well, this is the type of work I really like doing. Yeah. And we get a lot of results from that. Yeah. We could start more marketing on that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Which is another thing I need to start doing a lot more of. Yeah. But in the meantime, I think I'm all right.
Nice. Just going back a little bit, what is your origin story as a business? Like what made you want to become your own boss?
I don't think I tell a lie. So when I was younger, when I was at school, I was always interested in cars. So the school I went to, as a GCSE option, we did mechanics at our school. I chose that as one of my options. So back then, when I was like 14, 15, when you take your options, my plan was, or my idea was, become a mechanic because I always loved cars. But when I was younger, when I was about 9 or 10, I had almost a fatal accident.
Right.
So one of my toes on my left foot got crushed.
Wow.
I might tell you about it later. I don't know. So from that accident, I got some compensation money.
Right.
And I wasn't getting the compensation money until I was about 18. So my plan was to do mechanics at school, go to college, do mechanics. Then once I'd finished my mechanics and I got my compensation money in, I was going to set up my own garage and I was going to become a mechanic, self-employed mechanic.
Okay.
I suppose that was my first ever thought of being my own boss. But then when I'd finished school and I went to go to college, I suddenly decided I don't want to be a mechanic because I thought, I don't want to be working in like a cold garage in the winter and you get really filthy. But I've always loved knowing how things work.
Yes.
Like if I see something and I'll be like, how's that working? Have a bit of play about with it and I'll have a bit of fiddle with it. So
we've got your Sherlock mind palace just sort of like deciphering where things go.
Seriously, it's like that. It's like that. So then I went to college and I did engineering instead. So I got really good grades in my engineering, came out with distinctions and stuff like that. And at that point, I decided I wanted to be a draftsman or an architect.
Oh, right, okay.
So once I got my qualifications, came out with distinctions at college for my engineering, I thought, right, I'm going to go to uni and I'm going to become an architect.
Okay.
But then when I started looking around at university courses, one that like just shone at us at Sunderland University was automotive design and manufacturing.
Oh, right, okay.
So he's me thinking like, I'm going to design cars here. I am literally going to create and design a car.
Yeah.
That's the course I'm doing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so hard. So I enrolled on this university course at Sunderland. Parts of it were good, really good, especially in the workshop stuff. One team got to build a kit car.
All right.
One team had to fully rewire a Mercedes. Was it a Mercedes or a Jaguar? Literally all the wiring looms had been stripped out and we had to it was our role to rewire this whole car and get it functioning again, which was like challenging because I don't know if you've ever seen how much electrics are in like a high-end type of car. It's just crazy. Like certain aspects of that course was really good. Maths is not my strong point. Like I'm all right in maths, but when you start doing complex algebra, that just done us in like. But then in the meantime, my partner at the time, we had an accident and my first daughter came along. So from there, this is an origin story. So my eldest daughter, Beth, she was born. So between that, I was working a part-time job at Asda, just in retail, just to bring some money in and things like that. And then when I dropped out of university, so I stuck it for as long as I could. And I thought, right, I'll change onto more of a design, try and go more down the architecture route, like that. As most things happen, life gets in the way. So I ended up just doing more overtime at Asda because I needed to bring some money in. And then from Asda, I made supervisor. Then they put us through all my management training. And I actually loved working at Asda. It was fantastic. I loved dealing with customers. I loved the face-to-face. I loved the team I worked with. So when I became management, I got not my own store, but I had my own department over in Spennymoor. I just moulded the team how I wanted it.
Right.
And it was just like, so I maybe had like 30 members of staff, like 30 colleagues working for us. And it was just great. So I changed all the rotas so that the thing is with retail, no one really gets weekends off. It's terrible. So you get lots of sickness around weekends, you get lots of people falling sick, and obviously holidays affect everything. So I sat and looked at it and I was like, how can we make this better? So what I did is I just gave everybody every other weekend off. So right, you can have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off every other week. And they were like, what? But we only ever used to get one Saturday a month off, and now you're giving us like Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Well, yeah, that's what you've got. Oh, wow. What do you want in return? Like, it's nothing. I said, just if you have that time off, and then the 3 days you're not in that weekend, you'll be in June midweek. I said, and then it'll cover all the hours. Never gave anyone full-time contracts, and it worked so well. It worked fantastic. It got to the point where like I hardly had no sickness, unless it was genuine sickness, not just people phoning sick because they've been asked to go out. Yeah. And then I'd like people saying, oh, do you need anyone for a Friday night? Do you need anyone for a Saturday? Do you need anyone for a Sunday? So it took us a while to get to there. And everything was going perfect. It was going smooth. Loved it. Loved the job. And then we had a new manager started. He seemed to have big ideas. We'd gone on a management night out. Spoke to us. Didn't really like the way he spoke to us. And he became physical. Took a swing at us. He ended up coming off worse. And I lost my job through that. Yeah. This job, I'd put everything into it, loved it. And then all of a sudden I found myself like jobless. I've
Yeah.
never ever been out of work.
Yeah.
And it was horrendous. It was quite like, me and my partner Shelley, we'd separated. So I still had like, our Betha was really young at the time, but I was still spending a lot of time with her. But then it was like quite I'm not going to say a dark path, because it's not. I just lost my job, but I was like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go from there. I had a little bit of savings. So then from there, decided to become a mortgage advisor. So I retrained all of that, paid for all of the coursework, went down to Gloucester on some training courses, sat on my exams, and I passed them all. In the meantime, I was still working in one of my friends had got us a job in a factory. Now, I don't know if you've ever been in a factory or if you've ever worked in a factory, but it is horrendous. Well, maybe some people might like it.
Yeah.
For me, it's just not for me. I like to interact with people. I like to talk to people. But when I was in the factory, I was literally stood in a machine for 12 hours a day, putting a sheet of metal on, pressing a button and taking it off. And that's all I did for 12 hours a day. I don't know, I didn't go stir crazy. But then because I had that and I was like studying for me mortgage advisor exams and I was doing other things outside of there, it was bearable. But then back in like 2008, there was a big recession. So when I was like looking for a job of mortgage advisor and stuff like that, because the thing is, you pass your exams, you still aren't qualified to become a mortgage advisor. You need to get another mortgage advisor to sign your offers being competent to make sure, because there's a lot of paperwork. And if you get that paperwork wrong, you're affecting people's lives.
Yeah,
and And not only that, it's really regulated. So if I made a mistake, I could get sued. And so I needed to like shadow somebody and they needed to be checking my paperwork and get it all signed off. So I'd started with a company, but they folded very quickly. I started with another company. They folded very quickly, and I never got paid any commissions for that. So then from there, I had an interview as an in-house mortgage advisor for Reed's Rain Estate Agents. And I thought, oh, this is fantastic. Really, really good. What a good opportunity. Went along, all suited and booted, took all me whatever needed, my qualifications and stuff like that. The interview was going fantastic. I was like really feeling confident. All the questions, it was just flowing. It was really good.
Yeah.
Right at the very end, he said, so when did you get signed off as being competent? I was like, I haven't yet. And he went, right, okay. And I'm trying to think now, like, I think I got that interview through, like, almost like a recruiting agency thing, I think.
Right, yeah.
So the guy in Reed's Rain, he said, look, I'm really sorry, he said, but we need somebody who can just come in and hit the ground running. We don't have someone who you can shadow for the next few months to get that. He said, because we literally just need someone in. So he said, I'm sorry, but we can't offer you the job. Like, and I said, no, that's fine. I said, but thank you for the opportunity. I said, he said, it was a really good interview. He said, and you come across as really confident. I hope you get to where you need to be. And I said, well, I do as well. And thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I left that interview, and it was weird. I kind of felt like almost all the hard work I'd put in over the last like 2 years just to get to that point, and the money I'd spent to get that point, it felt useless.
Yeah.
So I literally went home and I just chucked my certificates in the bin.
Right.
Just put them in the bin and I went, right, okay, what am I doing now? Looks like I'm stuck in the factory. So when I lost my job at Asda, back then I was maybe on like, say, £28,000 a year. Losing that much money monthly to then suddenly work in a factory for £14,000 a year, that was like a massive, massive like hit.
Yeah.
Ended up being in a lot of debt. I worked my way out of the debt. I just worked hard. That's all I ever do. Whenever I have a problem, I just work, just graft. To fall into the plumbing, I'd never even thought about it. Because I had like a little bit of a background and knowledge about mechanics and stuff like that. I used to do repairs on my own car, like change brake pads and things like that. So I was changing the brake pads on my car. And my best friend come round and he goes, what you doing? I went, I'm just changing the brakes on the car. He went, can you do that? I went, yeah. I said, I learned it like when I was at school and stuff like that. I said, and I've always used to mess around with my own cars. Went,
Yeah.
oh, you canny handy, you like, aren't you? And I was like, yes, well, if I kind of understand how things work and stuff like that, I can tend to turn my hand to most things. Like you went, we're looking for labourers at our place to work as part of the heating teams. If you want us to, I said, yeah. I said, because I can't do the factory no more. Like the money was similar, it was a little bit more, not much more. So
yeah, but it's in quality of sort of actually doing something.
Yeah, and it was hands on, and I was like working alongside people as well. Yeah. So my mate lined us up this interview. It was the funniest interview I've ever had in my life. Like So it was. So I phoned Harry. He was the contracts manager for Heatwave Plumbing and Heating, who I kind of started my journey with. And so I phoned Harry, and he goes, "Oh, you Wayne's mate?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm Wayne's mate." He said, "Come down in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning." I went, "All right, no problem, I'll be there." So I got down there about 5:45, and there was loads of Heatwave's vans outside. All the lads had pulled up to start like getting stuff out the office or take stuff back. And now the only way I can describe Harry is maybe he's like Danny DeVito's twin brother.
Right, okay.
Very small. And maybe he's like Danny DeVito from like the Batman. Do you know where he looks like Penguin?
Yes.
And then he's like got like little kind of deformed hands, little bits like that. Well, that's how Harry was.
Deformed hands as well.
Kind of, I think it was just maybe he's off years of plumbing. His hands was just gone a bit weird, like little
His hands
flippers.
literally turned into tools.
Yeah, like little flipper tool things like that. But he looked exactly like Danny DeVito, but with a tan. So I was like, so I went in, I met Harry. I was going, "Oh, is it Harry?" He went, "Yeah." And I'm going to swear here, so I don't know if you need to speak like thing. So I was like, "Who the fuck are you like?" I went, "Oh, I'm Arron. I spoke to you on the phone yesterday." He went, "So what are you doing here?" I went, "Well, you told us to come down at 6 o'clock this morning to speak to you for like an interview." I went, "Oh, fucking worst time in the morning. You can come down here." I was like, "Well, just go and sit in that chair in there a minute." So I went in, sat on this chair, and I'm thinking all the lads had been in, got what they needed. And Harry came in and he was like, sat down. "So who's mate are you again?" I went, "Wayne's." He went, "What, Wayne Booth?" I went, No, Wayne Atkinson." He went, "Oh, right, aye. Oh, for labouring, aye." He went, "Aye." So he was talking to us. So every time I was talking back to him and he was like doing something as well, he went, "Arron, do us a favour, just shut the fuck up a minute while I get this done." But then he continued to speak to us, so I was thinking like,
do you want me to speak or do you want to?
In my head, I'm going like, who the hell is this lunatic? He's like, asked us to come down at 6 o'clock in the morning for an interview, told us I shouldn't have come down at 6 o'clock for an interview, and then proceeded to talk to us, but then also told us to shut the fuck up. And I'm like, what? So anyway, after he like got himself sorted, he said, "Right, do you want a coffee?" So I said, "Yeah, I'll have a coffee." So we had a coffee, we started having a chat, and then he was all right after that. He was quite a sound bloke, actually. It was just a very peculiar situation.
Yeah.
So what labouring experience have you got? Can you plaster? Can you do joinery? I went, "Nothing. I don't have a trade behind us." "Oh, but just Wayne said you're like a handy lad." I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Usually I can turn my hand to most things and I pick things up pretty quick." He went, "All right." And he said, "Wayne's a good lad." I said, "And if he speaks highly of you, then we'll give you a shot." He said, "Could you start on Monday?" I went, "It's Thursday now." "Yeah, start work at 8 o'clock. I'll go and I'll have my notice in." Like, he went, "Right, all right, start on Monday." So I went in, handed my notice in, started at Hewitt's. My first 2 weeks, I was like, what the hell have I done here? I had to like drill holes, like big holes through walls for the boilers. I had to like rip fires out. I had to brick them up. I had to plaster them. I was like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I don't, like, Wayne was like, "Arron, I need you to do this hole." I'm like, "Wait on a minute." I'm like, I'm ripping the fire. I need this hole out. I need to get my boiler on the wall. So me and him like almost come to blows like within that 2 weeks, because once I got into a routine and it worked really well.
Yeah.
And some of the other labourers come in and showed us how to do bits and pieces, and I picked that up really well. And then I absolutely loved it, because I was working with my hands, which I've kind of always enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was at like college in the 6 weeks holidays, I used to go and work with my uncle who was a plasterer. I used to go and help him mix the plaster, lift the boards and stuff like that. So I've kind of always been handy, I suppose. So then from there, once I'd been at Hewitt's for like about a year, what Hewitt's used to do is, rather than just take apprentices on and other plumbers, they used to let the labourers, if they wanted to, go back to college to retrain as plumbers.
Yes.
So there'd been a few in there. So I went to Mr. Hewitt, Craig Hewitt, who owned the business at the time, and I said, "Could I go on the plumbing course?" And he went, "Not this year, because we've already got quite a few of the labourers out doing it." There was a lad who'd started later than me as a labourer, and I found out he was going to college, so he'd got in there just before me, so I was a bit gutted. So I waited like till the following term time. And this time I went, right, I can't let him say no this time. So I'd contacted the college. I'd found out the dates. I'd found out the price. And I thought, right, I'll pay for this. So I went to him again. I said, "All right, Craig, can I go back to college to do the plumbing?" And before he said no, I went, "I don't need you to pay for it. I will pay for it." I said, I don't even need you to pay as my day off. I just need to let me go to college 1 day a week. You don't have to pay for anything. I'll take care of it all. And he just went, "Well, can't really say no, can I, Arron?" "Right, thank you." So I paid for it all myself. Everything was self-funded. But he did pay us for me day to go to college. And that's kind of where I started my plumbing journey. So, but all the time I was at Hewitt's, I wasn't really doing any plumbing. I was still labouring. When I was still part of the heating team, I had to get my labouring work done faster, so then I could drop on and start helping the the plumbers and the heating lads. What we started doing, me and my best mate Wayne, on a weekend, he'd get like people asking him, "Oh, can you do this for us?" So I used to go and help him. So that's where I gained most of my plumbing experience on working on weekends with Wayne. I got introduced to a builder and I started doing plumbing work for him on a night and stuff like that. And then there was one day college, so I was all up to date with all my exams, and it was like in my second year, my mate at college, Josh, rang us, "Arron, we don't need to go in." I said, "All right." He said, "It's only the lads who were behind that need to go in. They need to do some more revision because we all up to date, we don't need to go in." And at the time at Hewitt's, we'd gone like a little bit quiet. The labourers and the lads just down the office like cutting the grass and painting and stuff like that. And I was like,
wasn't enough for you.
No, and I wanted to do plumbing. Like I was there, I was wanting to learn, I was wanting to like
put the skills that you've learned into practice.
Yeah. So luckily I'd had this job that the builder would give us down at his farm at Melsonby. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to take the van down there and I'll do plumbing for the day. So I was down there, I was doing the plumbing at the farm. I'd already phoned the office just to see where I was at the following day, and he'd said, "Just come down the office tomorrow and we'll sort it out." So at that point I thought, right, I'm going to do some plumbing today. It's the first time I'd like went kind of AWOL to do my own stuff during like me working week, because I didn't have to go to college. I was working on
rebel plumber.
Yeah, the rebel plumber, yeah. So I was working in this farm, and it's not as though like even anyone could see us off the road, because it was up this farm track at this big farmhouse. I got about 3 o'clock, and I'd stood up, and I looked out the window, and there was a Hewitt's van driving up the drive, and I was like, oh my God,
this is it.
Shit. Arron's fucked up. Because the van, I knew the vans had trackers on, but like never ever really got used. Because of where I was working, I didn't have no signal on my phone. And Harry had been trying to phone us and couldn't get in touch with us. So he'd said such and such in the office. He just went, "Hey, yeah, I can't get in touch with Arron. Just have a look and see where he's at on the tracker." So they went and had a look on the tracker and seen that I'd been in Melsonby all day instead of Darlington at the college. So we used to have a site down in Richmond. So they'd sent the supervisor from Richmond on his way to come and get us. So Darren, he drives up this drive. So I went out the house, walked down to him and met him. So Darren goes, "What you doing here, like, Arron?" I went, "Well, I'm not going to lie, I'm working." Like, he said, "You're supposed to be at college, weren't you?" I said, "Aye." So I got a phone call and just said, we didn't have to go into college. So why didn't you phone the office just to say, like, you know the thing, like? Because all we've been doing is cutting grass, painting. I'm not doing no plumbing at work, and I just want to do plumbing. I'm not doing it, I'm not getting the experience. I went, "Yeah, I can understand. He said, "But obviously I need to phone the office and let them know." So anyway, I went for a kind of disciplinary hearing and whatnot. Yeah. But then the lady, Karen Hewitt, she worked in the HR thing. She really wanted to make an example of us, so other people didn't do it. So she said, "Look, Arron is getting sacked, like." So then I lost that job. So I was like, "Oh, fuck, what am I doing now?" Yeah. So then from there, one of my other friends, Glenn, he got me working on through an agency, and I was plumbing every day. So he got us onto this site with him. It was doing commercial plumbing, actually, like at King James School at Bishop. So I was working on there it was up until about the October, and the site was kind of almost finished. But at that time, I'd finished my level 2, and I was still going 1 day a week to do my level 3, get me gas and things like that. Come to like October, and the site had finished. It was only because Glenn was on there, he kind of like managed to get us in, when most of the time, and I've had to like show me qualifications and stuff, but because I hadn't fully finished the course, physically didn't have them qualifications to show them to say, "Oh yeah, I am a plumber," because you don't get the certificates until you finish the course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it was like October 2014. I was like, "Oh man, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't like get on for another site because I haven't got the certificates. Like, even though I'm like at my level 2, I'd phoned Hewitt's and said, "Look, will you take us back on? I'm really sorry. I was almost like pleading for my job." And I said, "Look, Arron, we can't. Sorry, but I have put a good word in for you with this other company, because you are a good lad." But they needed like someone who had the gas, and I didn't have my gas. I only had my plumbing. So he said, "Oh, look, we can't take you on." But then come October, I was like, "Do you know what?" I was still doing bits and pieces on a night. People were still like getting in touch with us. There was still bits of work for the building. I thought, "Do you know what? Let's just set up myself. Then I don't have to work for anybody."
Yeah, you make the rules.
Yeah, so I started like, there's all these like online ones where people will send you this lead generation stuff where you pay for them and you contact them and you get jobs and stuff like that. So then that's how it started, like working for myself. And then, that was it. That was kind of like where I started my journey as a plumber back in October 2014. So it's 10 years, like.
Yeah.
that I've like been
Sort of.
a plumber.
Yeah.
But like I never ever like set out thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to be a plumber. Or I'm going to do this.
Just that's sort of how.
Yeah, and then
I suppose different parts of that journey has sort of led to it, hasn't it? You know, you've sort of. I mean, even looking back at experience at Asda, like that's you got your management, people management sort of skills from there. Yeah, no, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so I've been on a bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But like I say, at the moment, I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love it. And I don't actually like even look at it as being a plumber. There's so much more to it. It's like more like problem solving. That's how I look at it. Every single job I look at it is like, right, what's the problem? How do we solve it?
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of going in and like...
There's a variety to it.
Yeah, absolutely love it.
Especially a lot more variety than the factory.
Yeah, oh my God. But there was like people in the factory, I seriously don't know how they do it. There was one guy in the factory when I worked in the factory.
Yeah.
He worked in that factory for 20 years, doing the same job for 20 years. And his job, he used to get all the metal that got like formed in the factory. It was his job to cut all of that metal.
Right.
So he would get a cutting list of saying like, it's this particular metal at this size. And then he would just cut it all day. Just metal. Cut. And he did that for 20 years.
Can imagine doing
now,
that.
I don't know if that's just like amazing that somebody can like just do that.
If you can do that well. Then
But seriously, for me, that just would have tipped us over the edge. Like,
yeah.
And I couldn't do it. Whereas like now, I've got
one step to being tied up in the cushioned room.
Oh, seriously though, it's like, I'm just like, I've maybe got admiration for those type of people that can physically do that. But I am not that person. Like, where like now,
you got the variety.
So much variety. It's great. I love it. It's just sometimes the long hours I don't like.
Yeah.
I suppose there's downside. There is downsides to running a business.
Of course, yeah.
Maybe
That's it as well. There's long hours of actually doing the job themselves, but there's also a lot of responsibilities and behind the scenes that goes on.
Yeah, hell of a lot.
Why you need those Thursdays to catch up with the sort of the admin side of things and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that was a really good origin story. That was a very good origin story. I'm going to move on to a little bit of an interesting question for you.
Oh, let's have it.
So in the film industry, specifically a certain genre or area of the film industry, the plumber walking in is a commonality. A lot of narratives.
Almost happened one time. Almost.
Really?
Almost one time. Yeah, I think I bottled it like. I'm not going to lie. She was a very attractive woman. There was a lot of innuendos. There are a lot of innuendos in the plumbing industry.
Yeah.
Like just certain parts of like...
What's your favourite one?
Probably stopcock. Seriously.
Stopcock?
Yeah, there's just like, there's loads. It's like, there's a lot of water involved, so people are always like, I bet you'll get proper wet. Stuff like that. And you're like... Yeah,
I was actually one of my questions. Like, how often does it actually? I didn't actually expect you to come out and say.
Yeah, it was up in Newcastle. It was I was working for Hewitt's at the time. I'd had an accident when I was at Hewitt's. I'd dislocated my finger, but it almost like ripped my arm off. So while it was healing, I'd have stitches. They put us on like duties. So what my job was then, I was going around ahead of the heating teams and I was measuring up. So this was quite, I suppose it was part of the heating side of it and the plumbing side of it, which I kind of enjoyed that. So I was going around, I was measuring the houses up for doing the heat loss calculations. So I used to work out what the size of radiators need to be in the house, making sure that when the teams turned up, they had all the right kit and stuff like that. So I had to like go ahead of it, and I'd just knocked on this girl's door. And don't get me wrong, she was attractive. Very attractive. We started chatting and she was like flirting quite a lot.
Right, okay.
And I was like, what the fuck? And I'm like,
what is happening right
trying
now?
to be like really professional. Like, and she kept like bending over and she had like, there was a good phase where all like girls used to get them like get tramp stamps on the back. It was like you could see the thong coming up the back and she kept like bending over and she was like wearing get skimpy clothes and I was like,
remain
tell
professional.
Twice.
All right, okay.
Both in Newcastle. So one was up near St James's Park on the housing estate there, and one was over in Walker, and she had like a full-on stripper pole in the living room. And because I had to go around the house to measure up for the radiators, I went into one of the rooms.
Measured that pipe as well.
Yeah, yeah. So when I went into her bedroom, there was just like all these naked photos of her all over the walls. But she wasn't like flirting. She was like just quite normal.
This is just what I do.
It was just the scenario where I was at.
Yeah.
That there was a stripper pole and there was like all these naked photos. And I spent a lot of time in the bedroom. I wish I had a smartphone then because I probably took loads of photos. But I didn't. That industry that you were talking about, that probably does lead a lot of people into the plumbing industry, thinking that's going to be. Yeah. It's not like that. It may happen occasionally.
A different...
You're not like under a sink and someone suddenly comes and stands over you and say, oh, do you need your pipe looking at? It's like that type of stuff. I've not had that quite. Yeah.
Well, a quick disclaimer: Robcam Productions does not offer any of these, as it's many video services that we offer to clients. Just putting that out there.
Oh, that's a shame.
Oh dear. Right. Okay. Moving on off that one. That was brilliant. That was a great answer. If you're following Arron on various social media platforms, you'll miss if you're not following on Instagram or all these things. You're missing out on some great little story vlogs that he does when he goes out trekking.
Yeah.
What makes you go out on these treks and when you're not running your business?
So I've always been a quite outdoorsy person. So I used to do like a lot of mountain biking.
Right. Okay.
Love mountain biking. Not like on the full-on scale of downhill mountain biking. It was maybe like a watered-down version of that. But we'd still be doing jumps and kind of tricks and stuff like that. But then I got my bike stolen.
All right.
And I've just never had a chance to replace them, or someone else has come up, and so I've never done it. So I was looking for like a release that I needed to just be able to get out. Friends would lend us a bike now and again, but it's not the same. And I'm part of a business group called B&I, which obviously you are very much aware of.
I am aware of that.
When I was in the chapter years ago, another one of your associates, Mr. Tom Cockrell, he was in that chapter.
Yeah.
And it was his role in the chapter at the time. He was like a social events coordinator.
Yeah.
So what he did, he created various social evenings, various things to do, and he planned to do a hike, a walk, whatever. So with another guy who he was an associate with, John Beamson, another Darlow lad. So we went out and he classed it as a netwalking.
Nice.
So I was there and there was maybe 15 other people. There was various like. So as you're walking around and you're talking and you're hiking, he took us, I think we went up through like Gisborough Woods and up that way, and it was quite nice. It was a lovely day. And then I got to meet John. If you've met John, he's a character. He's a nice guy, straight talking, can be very... Yeah, he's a nice guy. But he can be a bit full on sometimes if you're in the right aspect.
Also, enthusiastic about what you do.
Yeah, very much so. And once I met John, he started having various different events. So there was like, we're going to go up to the Lake District and hike, and we're going to do this. So I started doing more stuff with him, and then we did like a hike at midnight, going up over one of the ridges up in the Metro Centre, up in the Lake District. So I was like, yeah, that's a bit of me, because I like a bit of like adrenaline as well.
Yeah.
So the fact that you were doing it at midnight with a head torch on, you could plummet to your death. That was kind of like my thing. Like I don't mind that.
If there's not a little bit of
danger.
Threat. Oh yeah,
danger. I love danger.
This as well. I mean, I'm not that kind of person who's like, I can never do like camping or anything like that.
Oh, I love it.
But there was one story that you did where it was like, what was it? You booked a hut and then you just like a.
Oh, was that the Greg's Hut one?
I think so. It was just basically 2 rooms, and like, there's like
you
made your own fire and everything.
Yeah,
and I was like,
man,
it was so interesting watching it. To be fair,
so that there, I'd had that plan for well over a year. So
okay.
So what I'd done was, so as I got more like involved with John, and I'd started doing more events, and John's events started getting a bit more extreme, and I was just pushing and pushing and pushing. So I was out hiking and walking all the time. So we did like an event in the lakes called Escape the Lakes, which was so much fun.
Yes, I heard about that one.
So much fun.
Yeah. Is that one where you had to
evade the hunters?
Yes.
Yeah. So I ended up teaming up with another guy, Richard, on there, and we just had like so much fun all day. It was such a laugh. Oh, I met people on there, and they wanted to do 100,000 step challenge, which is like 50 miles.
Wow, okay.
Now the Escape the Lakes was around about 26 miles for the day, which I was tired after it, and I thought, let's do that. I've done a 50,000 step challenge. I've done 25 miles. I've done 26 miles. Let's push it. So I did with these other lads, and I'm still really good friends with them now. So then from there, John was like, right, I'm going to host an ultra marathon. I was like, the hell's an ultra marathon? My basic to anything over 26 mile is classed as an ultra. So you can either do it at 50k or you can do it at 100k. I went, I'll do 100k. So it was going from Scarborough to Rosebery Topping.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Straight on. So that's like miles. That's like 62 miles, and try and have it done within a 24-hour period. So I did that in I think it was the October.
Yeah.
Or November. It was dark anyway. I did that first challenge, and that took us 24 hours to do it. I came in last, but I was chuffed a bit that I did it. Next day, I couldn't walk for 3 days. Seriously, I was like an old man. I was crippled. Then...
But it's something you look back and you say, I've done that.
Yeah. But then he hosted it again in February time.
Right.
The same event. So I thought, right, I want to do it again. I want to do it a bit quicker. So this time I did it in 22 hours. And I wasn't aching. I was fine. I was perfectly fine. I just learned a lot from the previous one. So even that was like a bit of development from there. So stretching, eating, making sure you're looking after your body. And then from there, I signed up and I did another one at the Isle of Wight Ultra. And I did that with a few more people that I'd met through John. Just friends all over the country like that I've met through hiking and walking. And what it kind of did for us though, not just like getting out and having that. Literally, when I'm out walking and hiking, I don't think of the business. I don't think of work. I don't think of anything. Everything just literally melts away. Yeah. And I'm just there in the moment. I'm out looking at amazing views. Sometimes the weather's shit, whatever it is, but you just put a coat on, don't you? Do you know what I mean? It's like that's as simple
just
as
you
it
in
is.
the world, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like being one of the only things that's kind of like made it balance out with the business. I'm just going, I just have a total clear mind. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so you sort of say if you are in a point in your business where it is getting to you and it's stress, and that I think is that sort of the point where you say
100%.
I need to just
I just need to go, and I'll just bugger off for a weekend, go camping, go meet friends, go walking, go hiking, just go on an adventure. So yeah, going back to the hut. After I'd done these ultras,
I loved it.
I've
got my boots over there, all toasty. Like,
I'll tell you.
Your dad didn't you have like some sort of like astronaut type food as well with you as well?
Oh yeah, I always take that. It's amazing. It's just like freeze dried ration packs. So you just boil water and pour it in, and I've had loads of nice food. Yeah, it's great. So when I finished doing these ultras, I wanted to plan doing in the same distance, like another like 100k. Yeah. But this time I wanted to incorporate an overnight camp. So it kind of changes the logistics of things and how much food you need to take and how many changes of clothes you need to do and this, that and the other. So I'd kind of ran that by John a couple of times and he was like, oh, you will smash that. So I thought, right, well, I'll have 2 nights then. I'll have 2 nights camping. A year later, and it was got the point where I was like, I just need to do this now. So I'd looked at the weather. It was all right. So I got the wife to drop us off. The plan was to drop us off at 5 o'clock on the Friday night.
Drop you off in the middle of nowhere and then I'll see you later.
So she dropped us off up this tiny little village near Penrith. Yeah. Melmaby it was called. So she dropped us off at the end of this road and I just set off. But like I say, she was supposed to drop us off at 5 o'clock. Didn't get there till 9 o'clock. Luckily, it was still in the summer, so it was still light until about 10, half 10. Right. So when I'd looked at my map, my first point where I was staying was Greg's Hut, which is on the Pennine Way. It's a mountain bothy. Anyone's got access to it. It's there in case like you ever come into difficulty or things like that. It's just so you can get out of shelter. And it's been like refurbished over the years. So I set off at 9 o'clock, hiking my way there. Started getting dark. Weather turned really bad. Just absolutely started like torrential raining down. So I was like constantly checking my map, checking my compass. Got lost a little bit, but that's part of the adventure. Do you know what I mean? It's all part of the adventure. Next thing I know, waist deep in a bog on my own. Moving around, just sucking us in, pulling us in. It was like, oh my God, what the hell are you doing? At this point, it was like 1 a.m. Like, pitch black, pissing down, soaking wet up to my waist, and I've got another day. Yeah. I'm like, shit, I'm getting out this bog. So I managed to like spin myself round, had me hiking poles, I managed to find some firm ground, dug them into the ground, and managed to drag myself out of this bog. Yeah. On my own, middle of nowhere. Looked at me compass again, set off to Greg's Hut. Yeah. Soaking wet, cold. Slipped down a few, what are they called? It's off like mining, but they just like look like a little bomb hole type of thing. Yeah, like that. Slid down loads of those as well. Got back up. Eventually found Greg's Hut. Yeah. Oh man, I've never been so happy in my life. It was unbelievable. Just like I was looking around, it was all fog, and it was kind of like I'm looking at my map and I'm going, it should be here. It should be here. And I was like, I'd walked a little bit further, and all of a sudden, this stone hut just appeared out of the fog. Yeah. So I was like, oh. So I walked round, went in the door, and I was like, just a room, just a stone room. But then I went through this other one, and there was like a raised platform. And I'm walking in, and luckily there was no one there, because at any point, there could have just been people there. Yeah. And at this point, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, pitch black. I was soaking wet from the waist down. There was a fire there. I thought, right, let's get the fire lit. Lit the fire, got that going. And there was a pair of sliders on the floor. And I'm going like, why is there a pair of sliders here? Like, there was a guitar in the corner. There was bits of food that people had left, like pasta packets, like the dried stuff. And I was like, why the fuck's there a pair of sliders here? But then I'm going like, so I took my boots off that was soaking wet, and it was a cold stone floor. And then I went, sliders. Yeah. So I took all my socks off. I had everything drying on this rack, and I'm just wandering around in my boxer shorts in this fucking stone hut. Anyone could have walked in at any time, and I'm just like living life. I'm like loving it, absolutely loving it. Got these sliders on, and I'm like, oh my God, I could just thank the person that left these sliders. They could have had verrucas or all sorts. I didn't care. I wasn't even bothered.
That did pass my mind when I was watching that.
Not bothered. So I'm roaming around this bloody stone hut in sliders and boxer shorts. Yeah. Half naked. Gets on me bed laid out. But it's weird, like when I'm out doing that type of stuff, I just kind of randomly, I'll just suddenly make a video of us doing whatever, and I just say
capturing the experience, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just say what literally is in my mind at that moment in time, and it might not be PC sometimes, and I just say whatever. But just people seem to like it.
Yeah. That was amazing. Honestly, it was amazing.
I love it. It's just like, it's what I do. And then, but I didn't manage to do the full 100k. I only managed to do about 40k of it, because I think I definitely underestimated how much I had to carry. So I was normally on a hike, I'd have something like maybe 5 or 6k. I was carrying like 20k plus all my clothes I had on. I was soaking wet. I had everything, but I had a good time. I loved it.
That's it. Well, so absolutely got the experience out of it.
Yeah. So and that's what I do. Just meet up with random strangers and go hiking and camping and go on adventure. It's an adventure.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Before we start wrapping up, I've got a few other questions for you, but these are not only questions. I'm going to test your plumber joke knowledge.
Oh, plumber joke.
So I've got I've got some plumbing jokes here, and I want to know if you know the answer to the joke, if you've heard it before.
Let's have it.
So the first one is maybe an easy one to start off with. What's a plumber's least favourite vegetable?
A leak.
There you go. Hey. Looking for the right camera there. Hey. Next question. Why was the plumber so tired after a day's work?
Oh, I don't know.
Because it was so draining.
Do you know what popped in my head really there?
What?
Like the previous question about the film industry.
Yeah, the film industry. Yeah.
I was thinking, was it? Did you have a look at it?
Yeah. Did you hear about the person who broke into the police station and stole a toilet?
No.
Well, they've got nothing to go on. What do plumbers dream about?
Wet dreams?
Pipe dreams.
Oh, pipe dreams.
Couldn't be.
Okay.
Well,
leading
back to the other question.
Yeah.
And why shouldn't you play poker with a plumber?
Oh, I don't know.
A good flush always beats a full house every time.
I like those.
Yeah,
I do like those.
And there's one that isn't a question, but don't you just hate it when you call a plumber and all they do is eat your mushrooms and kill your turtle?
Mario.
Mario.
I love it.
Okay, so and then there's just some quick fire questions. These are some that I ask all my guests. What would you say is your kryptonite?
My kryptonite?
Your kryptonite, yeah.
Ice cream, I think.
Ice cream?
Yeah, I love it, man.
Is it?
Seriously, like tubs of it. I can like devour like tubs of ice cream. It's just...
Yeah, so this ice cream to share? No, it's not. It's
give over.
Get your own.
Yeah. Yeah. Any flavour, I'm not bothered like.
No?
I love it.
I'm not, you don't, with ice cream, I'm like, it's either, cookie dough is my go-to.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, just any. I'll eat any.
Just hand me a tub.
I probably do have a preference, like, but just ice cream.
Yeah, nice one. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, I think I've said this before, and I've had variations. I think I would like to be able to either, it could be a combination, either stop time so I can still move around.
Okay.
Because then I was thinking, like, say if I'd been overbooked in jobs, I could just stop time, get the jobs done.
Bernard's watch it.
and still be able to like get the job done.
Yeah.
Or super speed. I don't know if it would be either, because I've seen some people go that flash, goes that fast, it almost stops time.
Yes.
So, yeah.
One of the two. Nice.
Probably stop time.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever watch the program Heroes?
No, I haven't. But yes, I did. I know the clip you're on about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a guy on there called Hero.
Yes.
And that's what he could do. He could stop time, but then also...
I think that's the only clip I've seen of Heroes, but I do want to watch it at some point.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Fantastic. If you had a TARDIS...
Yep.
If you go back in time...
Yep.
When you first started your business journey and give your past self one piece of advice, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Become an electrician. Become an electrician. It's easier. Miles easier. Some electricians probably wouldn't agree with that, but yeah, it's miles easier.
Put an ultimate question, and just quickly, what's your all-time favourite film?
Oh my God, that's a tough one, Rob.
It's a tough one, but
I always used to say it was probably Fight Club.
Oh,
it's
right,
always
okay.
one of my go-tos, like, but maybe it's got like a top 10, because then I've obviously got like The Godfather. That's one of my favourites too. Man, that's a hard. You can't ask someone what is your heart.
Quickly. What's your favourite?
Yeah, we'll stick with Fight Club.
Nice one.
Always a good one too.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, it used to be Grease and Dirty Dancing.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's why I moved so well.
There you go.
Dirty Dancing.
Check him out dancing whilst he's
got some moves.
Yeah.
Some moves.
Final question: where can people find you on the socials?
So social media, we have info at Heatwave. That's on Instagram, and then I've got my personal page that is Heatwave Hero, and then Facebook is just Heatwave Plumbing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So definitely check him out, because you never know when he's going to go on his next hike.
You don't,
and you never know when you're going to get a fantastic entertainment experience with him dancing in.
The next challenge is May.
Oh,
which is 100k ultra, which I am not prepared for.
No,
but it'll get done, and that's the Isle of Wight again.
You may get a bit of vlog in there.
Yeah, you will, because I'll need to fill 24 hours in.
Yeah, I'm mad with yourself. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining me today, Arron.
It's been a pleasure.
And thank you for tuning into this episode of NEBiznis. Remember to like, subscribe, favourite on whichever platform you're watching or listening to this podcast on. And remember to follow us on social media at NEBiznis. And until next time, remember, any business is our business.